Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we're going over some of my favorite plays for tonight's 9-game NBA slate for tonight on Draftkings. Anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out, really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. And if you're interested in the spreadsheets about every single night for the NBA season, because a lot of things change throughout the day, projections, Slack chat, cheat sheet, all that good stuff. Links all in the description below for my Patreon. I also do NFL content as well. Alright, so I think I'll stop plugging. I say we get right into the video. So, my number one play tonight is, no surprise, well, I guess it might be a little surprise, but hopefully not. Karl-Anthony Towns at 10,000. I was all over the guy in the beginning of the year, and, well, he had a suspension, but he did serve his 2-game suspension, and he hasn't played since October 30th, so the dude's going to be fresh. And he was having an amazing start to the season beforehand. On the year, he's averaging a massive 1.85 points per minute with a 28% usage rate. 27 points, 4 assists, and 11 rebounds, 2.5 steals, 2 blocks. And the dude's blazing threes, too, pretty much more than anyone in the league right now, with 4.5 three-pointers made per game. So he has been an absolute monster. We've seen his upside this season being the head honcho on this offense, starting the season with 73 and 82 fantasy point outings. You know, you can't project anyone for that. Would it really surprise anyone if he came close to it versus Memphis, or maybe even surpasses it? They really don't pose any threats on defense, and they've been one of the bottom-tier defenses so far. Both teams also play extremely fast, with Minnesota being first in pace and Memphis fourth. We also have a 225-point total here, which is near the tops on the slate. I believe it's only behind the Milwaukee game right now. So I love Cat tonight. He's going to be the first guy I plug in my lineups, and honestly, I think we get him at a pretty fair price of $10,000. I think he could probably be close to $11,000 or even more. So Karl-Anthony Towns, I like him a lot. So we're going to be plugging Karl-Anthony Towns in, or at least I will. Next guy I like is Andre Drummond at 10,800. So it's looking like a good slate to spend up at the center spot if you want to go double center, double spend up. 10,800 for Drummond, 10,000 for Towns. I think that's fine. They've been both great to start the season. They're both popping up as extremely strong plays. Drummond just continues to keep chugging along with Blake Griffin being out. I don't really expect that to change until Blake comes back. He's had 4 straight games of over 20 rebounds and averaging 19.4 rebounds per game on this season and nearly 20 points. So we're talking about a 20-20 average right now. And he's seeing big minutes with over 36 per game. He has a nice 1.55 fantasy points per minute right now. Blake is close to returning, so I'm going to enjoy solo Drummond for his now as long as I can. He's been rock solid for us. And he's a virtual lock for a double-double every night with a 20-20 average and 30-30 upside. So Andre Drummond, I like him a lot versus New York. He should be able to have his way. I think we have another big fantasy outing from him. 58 points, 74, 67, 54, 44. Yeah, it's a little down. 34, that's when he got in some foul trouble, and 48, 78. So I think Andre Drummond can get you about 60 fantasy points tonight with upside of more, and I like him a lot. Now, I do think there's an important thing we should talk on this slate. So we have James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and I think they're both fine plays. And do I love playing them generally every single slate? Yeah, I pretty much talk about them every slate, and I always tend to play them. But I do have concerns here, despite this being an insanely good matchup. Golden State is 24th versus point guards, and 29th versus shooting guards. So James Harden and Westbrook should eat while they're on the court. But that could be a problem in this game, being on the court, because they might not be on it too much. Golden State is absolutely awful right now. And if D'Angelo Russell misses again, this could get ugly quick. I looked last night. I know it's early morning now, but last night I saw the Rockets were 17-point favorites. And if we are paying top dollar for these guys, we're going to need a full complement of minutes from them. And I'm scared we might not get that. I mean, we might see like minutes in the mid to upper 20s, depending if this game gets out of hand quick. It'd help a smidge if Russell does play to help keep it close. Maybe he's just, he's hot from deep. But if I do roll with one of these guys, it's probably gonna be Westbrook for me because he's been the more efficient fantasy producer while they've both been on the court. But I do have concerns about a blowout here, so I'm not sure if I want to pay all the way up for James Harden when I can get someone like Andre Drummond or Karl-Anthony Towns at a cheaper price point. And I'm pretty sure that both teams should be in a closer game. So yeah, I'm not too high on James Harden and Russell Westbrook tonight. If you want to take some chances on them in GPPs, I think that's fine, but I'm not really sure they're a great cash game option just in case this game gets blown out. Now, if D'Angelo Russell ends up playing, yeah, I think they're fine. I'd prefer Westbrook because for some reason he's still 9,400 for some reason, even though he's been awesome this year, besides the game versus Miami where they got blown out. But 57, 56, 50, 65, 62, yeah, I think he's a great play. So yeah, I don't mind Westbrook. If Russell plays, I think he's a stronger play. If not, the game could get out of hand quick. So just not totally sure how the minutes will look, but just know there's risk there. Then Malcolm Brogdon at 8,100. The guy just continues to eat. I was on him last night. I know I didn't talk about him in my video too much. both guys for the Pacers being out, he was just going to have to shoulder the load. And he's really took a step forward this season being the guy for the Pacers. And he just continues to pile good game after good game. He's averaging over 33 minutes per game and a really nice 1.4 points per minute on the season. He's nearly averaging a double-double, too, with 22 points and 9.7 assists. Indiana is one of the slower teams in the NBA, but it should see a pace-up spot versus Washington, who's playing the ninth, the fastest currently. We've also seen the Wizards give up some pretty big games to guards this season. I know the Westbrook and Harden game, although obviously they're elite talents, but Brogdon's pretty good too. So I already have interest in. So I will. So if let's say Sabonis, I already have interest in him if Sabonis and Turner do play, but if they're out, the offense is going to completely run through him, and I think that makes him a very, very strong play in a price range that tends to go overlooked on most nights, or most slates, I should say, since we all like to go stars and scrubs, so 8,100 usually isn't a price range we're in too much. But Brogdon, I think he's a pretty strong play. Next guy I want to talk about is Lou Williams at 6,500. So all these Clippers get a bump with Kawhi being out because he's got another rest day. Eyes are watering. I feel like I'm getting a headache in my eye. Hopefully make it through the end of this video. So, he's getting another rest. Kawhi's getting another rest day, and Lou's going to have to be the guy that steps up the most for them to hang with Giannis and the Bucks. Coming off the bench, he's averaging 30 minutes per game and getting over 1 fantasy point per minute right now, 1.04. He also has a 30% usage rate off the bench. So he's the guy when he comes in most of the time. But Kawhi's out, so he's definitely going to be the guy. And also, this game is a 227-point total, which at the moment is the highest on the slate. I'm still not seeing a total for Houston yet, but I imagine it's going to be pretty high, but that game's pretty lopsided. Here we only have a 3.5-point spread, so Lou's going to have to be hot for the Clips, and I think we can get a 40-point outing from him. I mean, he's been pretty bad the past two games, 27 fantasy points and 21. But 31, 35, 27, 40, 39. I think he's going to make his shots in this game. So Lou Williams at 6,500, I think he makes sense. He should be pretty popular with Kawhi being out. So I think he's a fine play. Although he wasn't that great when Kawhi was out last time. But, it's just one game sample size. Bruce Brown at 5,300. So he's no longer free. But the guy's been nothing short of amazing so far in the absence of Tim Frazier and Derrick Rose. His minutes have been huge. He's averaging 38.5 minutes per game, and he's getting 40 fantasy points per game. So he's really been about a point per minute right now. If he sees over 35 minutes again, which I think he's a safe bet for, he should be able to get us over 30 fantasy points with upside of more. I know he's not free, but I'll take that at 5,300. It also helps the Knicks have not been great versus guards either. So Bruce Brown, I think he's fine at 5,300. I mean, he's been good. Versus Brooklyn, 40 minutes, 39 fantasy points, 7 assists, 2 boards, 22 points, 2 steals. I like that. Then last game versus Washington, 37 minutes, 41 fantasy points, 14 real-life points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, he was flirting with a triple-double there. I mean, he started out really bad, but then he caught fire at the end of the game. So Bruce Brown, I think he's fine. With all those guys missing, he's going to have to step up, and he's been stepping up. So Bruce Brown, I do like that at 5,300. I know he's not cheap, like dirt cheap anymore, but I still think he's fine. Goga at 4,200. Was it Batazde? I wasn't watching the Pacers game last night. I'm a Cleveland Cavs fan, so I was watching the Cavs game. But I was watching the Draftkings live, and the guy was he kept getting fantasy points. So Goga Batazde, I think that's how it's pronounced. So this is completely dependent on injury news coming out, but the guy's been awesome for fantasy the past 3 games relative to his price tag. I mean, if you look at his game log, 32 minutes last night versus Charlotte, which was a great matchup, 32 fantasy points. Chicago, another good matchup, 19 minutes, 26 fantasy points. Then versus Cleveland, which is a pretty decent matchup, 25 minutes, 31 fantasy points. So he's been very good with his minutes so far, and he's sitting at 1.13 points per minute right now, which is pretty awesome for someone at 4K. But I should point out, it's literally been the best matchups each game for him, though. So probably will only get down from here, but the guy's been good. Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland are great matchups, but all those teams have been really bad versus big men. But with Sabonis and Turner out last game, we saw him get over 30 minutes. Helped a little bit with overtime, but still, he had his best game yet. And he was getting plenty of minutes anyway without overtime. He would have saw over 25 minutes. But, if one plays in the other sets, I still think he's fine. He should see around 20 minutes. But if both are out, obviously it's going to be a lock tonight at 4,200 versus Washington. They've been very bad versus big men. So the good matchups continue. If both play, I'm probably not going to have much interest just because, maybe if he was way cheaper. But if Turner and Sabonis play, I'm probably going to be out on Gogo. But, if one's out, I'll be interested. And if both out, lock of the slate pretty much. So do have interest in Goga. He's just completely on injury. He's injury dependent right now. DeAndre Hunter at 4,300. I have some interest in him. He actually saw quite a boost with Collins getting hit with the suspension. His minutes were all the way up to 36, with they usually being in the mid to upper 20s. So we did see a nice minutes boost there, and he had a pretty good night last night too. 8 boards, 16 points. He should see similar minutes tonight, and honestly, 25, 30 fantasy points with upside of more isn't out of the question here. And his price actually did come down 100. So DeAndre Hunter, I think he's fine. Chicago doesn't have the best defense in the world, so I don't mind some Hunter. JaMychal Green, he would make some sense at 3,900 with Kawhi Leonard being out. So he's gonna see some extra minutes, and I currently have him slightly above 25 tonight, which is more than his average of about 22. Now I'll take that at his price. He's been pretty efficient with his minutes, getting 0.91 fantasy points per minute, so he should be able to surpass 20 fantasy points here with upside of more, because obviously going to get higher usage with Kawhi being out, and this is one of the higher scoring games of the night. So JaMychal Green, I think he makes some sense. So does Patterson at 3,100, his teammate. Just more minutes to go around for the Clippers. He's not as fun as Green is, but he's almost the bare minimum on DK, and he should see close to 30 minutes or at least 25. So you got to like the minutes there. He's only at 0.6 points per minute right now, so you get what you're paying for here, but you expect that to go up with Leonard out. So I don't hate it. I think he flirts with 20 fantasy points at 3,100. So I don't think he's the worst play in the world, but obviously if you look at his game log, it's not great, but he's showing some upside. Versus Golden State, he had 28 minutes and got 27 fantasy points. So yeah. Not the most exciting play in the world, but he's also 3,100. Markieff Morris is the last guy I want to talk about. Obviously, more value can open up throughout the slate. And there's obviously some other guys I like, but I want to just sit here for an hour and talk about everybody. But where is Markieff Morris? Okay, 3,800. And, he's cheap. That's really all the good things I have to say about him after last game. But he picked up some fouls early and really just had his 4 game. He only played 14 minutes and just absolutely nothing. Only had, 4 real-life points, 2 boards. He's going to do better than that on most nights. He should normally see minutes in the 25 to 30-minute range with Blake Griffin being out. And he's been at 0.68 fantasy points per minute with a 20% usage rate. So, he's going to score more points than that usually. 22, 19, 25, 9. We got a floor with him, but 31, 17, 16. So, I don't mind Markieff Morris. I think he's a fine play at this price tag. New York doesn't have the best defense in the world. That's all I'm going to talk about for today, which is good because I'm getting a massive headache in my eye. So, anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Remember, leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPinell16. Spreadsheets available. Links in the description below. Slack chat, cheat sheet, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video.